Welcome, everyone, to TJ and Grumpy Old Man. I'm your host, TJ, and with me again, as always, is the Grumpy Old Man. They say there is no shame in his game because he is always the same.
That's me.
This is a twice-a-week sports podcast where we talk sports and shoot the shit, have a good time. To make sure you don't miss out on any of the action, make sure you subscribe on YouTube, like on Facebook, and follow on Twitter. This is a podcast we do every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and every single Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, make sure you don't miss out. Subscribe on YouTube, show a like, and also comment there. That being said, Grump, a lot of movement going on in the NFL today. A lot of movement, man.
Some movement.
Just some?
I don't know what moves the needle or not. A little bit of movement, a little bit.
Well, first off, Grumpy, I'm
Salted
sure
him just a little bit.
What was that?
Nothing. Some good fellas.
Let me show you this picture. Now, Cam Newton, Grumpy Old Man, is back joining the Carolina Panthers. And here's a picture with Dave Tippett coming back and joining the Carolina Panthers. Grump, I want you, number one, I want you first to take a look at Cam Newton's attire, right? Very, very, I don't know what to call him, but I know he dresses, he's an extravagant dresser. I want you to rate this outfit first, Grumpy.
This is going to be like, what the heck was that show that Fashion Police? So we're doing Fashion Police segments now. Is that what you're saying?
Fashion Police, Grump. I actually kind of like the layout. I like the uniform. I don't know. I kind of like what he's got over here, Grump.
It looks like he pulled. And here's the thing: he's a clothes horse without a doubt, no doubt. And the owner's name is Dave Tepper.
Dave Tepper. I'm sorry,
Dave Tepper.
Like the 10-gallon hat.
It's not a 10-gallon hat. He was wearing the same little costume when he was playing with New England. And he's smiling wide today. You want to know why? He got $5 million guaranteed. And I would admit I was wrong. I didn't think anyone would give him another chance. Obviously, the Panthers have not seen how he's played since he left a number of years ago. He just can't hack as a quarterback anymore. I realize with Sam Darnold having a fractured shoulder, they were desperate. But here's the thing, right? You see all the new memes coming out. Oh, we're back. Cam Newton's back and will lead us to glory. No, not going to happen. And those little cheers are going to turn to boos real quick. Well, I watched him all this. He's terrible. Can't do it anymore.
Now, let me ask you this. Now, I don't think he's back. You're right. Everybody's happy. Breaking news. Cam Newton's back. And again, Grump, you live in Carolina, do you not? You live in that Carolina area.
Yep, live right there.
Well, let me ask you, what's the feel for that? I mean, are the fans excited? I have to assume the fans are excited, right? I mean, the last time he was there,
the stupid fans are excited. He can't play anymore. I'm telling people he can't play anymore. They think it's Cam Newton circa 2015. No, he can't throw the ball anymore. Just can't do it. I mean, we went over this, during the summer, but I did want to grade his outfit. Since it's the Fashion Police segment, I did want to do that. I didn't get to the full grade.
Jesus, Grump.
I'm just like I said, but I was looking at it and I'm like I said, he's a clothes horse and he has, unbelievable amount of clothes. All over the place. He's got clothes. No doubt about it. But it almost looks like, and like everything's like in sections. It's almost like, okay, I'm going to pull a shirt from this section. I'm going to get my little tan pants from another section of the building. Then I got my little denim jacket. I'm going to throw that on. That was in the back seat of the car. And I'm going to put on my fancy little cap. It looks to me it looks like a mishmash.
I was about to say, I'm not sure. And here's the thing. He's got a little bandana down there too. So, hey, honestly, I've seen him dress and a lot of times I'm like, yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. I think this is kind of a mishmash, but I kind of like this style a little bit. I have no style, as you could tell, Grump. I'm always a t-shirt or cutoff t-shirt type of guy. This is, he could do a lot worse than that. I give him some props. I like the outfit. That being said, it was $4.5 million, Grumpy, that was guaranteed money for Cam Newton with the possibility of it being $10 million here. That being said, this is, we heard the rumors originally that Carolina was big in on Deshaun Watson until kind of the backlash started inching its way closer to Dave Tepper. And man, oh man, this is
They could have got him for vet minimum. They could have got him for vet minimum. You didn't need to pay him $10 million or give him a guarantee for this year. You didn't need to do that. Let me tell you something. The PJ Walker kid is better than he is right now, and he's deplorable. This guy, he just can't do it anymore. He just can't do it. It's that, what he used to be. Let's bring him back because he used to be good. Well, you know what? A lot of people used to be good, but that doesn't mean they're good now. He's absolute toast as an NFL player. But people here in Carolina, they remember the good times, and it's a different kind of fan base. Always behind the team, really not too negative. Kind of is what it is. But they'll learn. He'll be booed in game one. He'll get booed.
Oh, he will not get booed in game one. No way.
When he starts throwing ground balls to running backs, to Christian McCaffrey, play after play after play, he'll be booed.
Okay, here's the thing. They just got done watching freaking Sam Darnold. Okay, Grumpy. I don't think they're going to be quick to boo Cam Newton. Here's the thing. I don't expect Cam Newton to, reinvent his game or to flip a switch and return back to the Cam Newton of past. If you're a Panthers fan and you're expecting that, you are going to be sadly mistaken, very sadly mistaken. So you're in a situation where I guess you're just hoping he could manage a little bit of the game. I wasn't really so sure I understood why they made the move for Cam Newton. If I'm the Carolina Panthers, I know you started off the season, what was it, 4-0, 3-0 until they lost to the Cowboys.
3-0.
3-0. Pitch the tent, man. Pitch the tent. This is not a year where you're winning the Super Bowl. You don't have a quarterback. And you think about it, you thought Sam Darnold might be able to be the guy. You gave away a third-round pick to trade for the guy from the Jets, from the ex-New York Jet. That being said, you passed over a second-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
That was a third, but you passed over guys like Fields. You pass over guys like Mac Jones, and you think to yourself, "Oh wow, you really thought that Darnold could be the answer by giving up a second-round pick, and you passed up over quarterbacks that look like they're already better than Sam Darnold, and some maybe better than Cam already as well."
I wish I had a way to access the earlier podcast because you were 100% behind Sam Darnold early in the year, and I said, he's not all that. But you were thinking he was the greatest thing since sliced bread after week 2.
I do not recall.
Yeah, I know you didn't, but that is exactly what you said. I just can't believe, in essence, they're paying Cam Newton $20 million a year to finish up. 8 games to go, right? $10 million. So let's just say it's a 16-game season. I know it's 17. Let's say $20 million for a guy who's
okay. No. It's not guaranteed. $20 million. Again, that's assuming he hits every single bonus and item like that. It's $4.5 million guaranteed. Not that. I mean, quarterbacks get paid hand over fist. Most quarterbacks get paid $20+ million.
He was a freaking streety. Streeties don't get paid guaranteed money. You could have given him vet minimum, and he would have come in and played. He had no other options. No one's wanted him since they let him go 2 years ago. No one's wanted him. New England signed him really late in the process when they found out that Jarrett Stidham couldn't be a professional league quarterback, and they had Brian Hoyer. They signed him in July, and he was an abomination last year. Didn't even make it through training camp this year. No one wanted him. Why? Because he can't throw the ball. And besides the fact, he was never a great quarterback. Great football player, fantastic athlete, not a great quarterback. They're different things. But good for him. Now he gets to buy some more silly little costumes and get his little cigars and all that other stuff. So
let me ask you this. Do you expect the Panthers to make the playoffs, right? This move, you don't make a move like this, bringing in a guy like Cam Newton, unless you think, hey, I want to make the playoffs, right? This has to be the move. They think they're playoff contenders. They made the trade there for Stephon Gilmore, who had that 1 year left on his contract, but they gave up a 6th-round pick for him. So they think that they are in contention to make the playoffs. I mean, what's your expectation? What do you think the Panthers could do with this trade they've made? Or this free agent acquisition?
They'll either be 7-10 or 8-9. They're not making the playoffs. No way. No shot. Zero shot. Their defense is okay, but their offense is abysmal. You don't have a quarterback. Without a quarterback, you're not winning in the NFL, period. Not winning.
Meatball Parm saying, what a joke tonight. Oh, talking about the Islanders. Yikes.
Yeah. I remember last night on the Islanders Never Say Die podcast, I just happened to mention that the Islanders had got quite a bit of puck luck. Even when they weren't playing well, they'd score a late period goal, score a fluky goal to start the game, and wound up being outplayed and win. And today the script was flipped, I thought, for the most part.
When the roles are reversed, Grump.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like for certain.
Struggle offensively. The Islanders struggle offensively.
Well, there's also some other news in the NFL, Grumpy. Now, you'll happen to know Cam Newton recently signed. There also was another notable free agent that was recently picked up here today. Now, I want to show you this first. Now, Odell Beckham Jr., the last time he had 100 yards receiving in a game, I know that you will like this, Grump, just to show I don't cherry pick items, right? You've got Stephon Diggs was a member of the Vikings. Tom Brady was a member of the Patriots. You had Joe Burrow still in college at LSU. And you had Luke Kuechly still playing in the NFL, Grumpy. Man, that was a long drink, Grumpy. Damn.
Okay, you complain that I need to have a drink. Then when I take a drink, now you're complaining about the length of the drink while you're talking.
Oh no, Grumpy. I just say, man, he's a long drink. But here's the thing, right? I just want to show I don't cherry pick Grump. Odell Beckham Jr. Last time he had 100 yards receiving as a game. Stephon Diggs was still with the Vikings. Brady with the Patriots. Joe Burrow in college at LSU. Kuechly was still playing for the Panthers.
Is Odell, is OBJ able to subjugate himself by going to the Rams, because he's not going to be the number one option there? Without a doubt, that's going to be Cooper Kupp. He's not going to be the number two option, which is Robert Woods. Is he going to be satisfied being the number three option in that offense, which also runs the ball quite a bit? That's the thing about he's the ultimate me guy, right? He gets along with all of his teammates except the quarterbacks. Why? Because they're not getting him the ball. He wants the ball. It needs to be about him, right? He could have went out there and signed with anyone. His agent was in touch with everyone. And he's like, well, I'm going to drag it out. Maybe I'll announce it after the game on Sunday. It's always about him. Him. I don't know.
Well, I'm going to guess what? I'm going to come to Odell Beckham Jr.'s defense, Grump, because guess what? You said, okay, Grump, let me finish here. Guess what? You say that, hey, they also run the ball an awful lot there in LA. Yeah, Matthew Stafford has the most passing yards in the NFL so far this season. So they all. Yeah, he does, Grumpy. I tell you, come prepared to the stats. He's got the most passing yards in the NFL season. I'll pull up for you, too, and I'll pull up the image. He's got more passing yards than Tom Brady. Don't even bother looking it up. He's got more passing yards. I'll pull it up on screen. But Matthew Stafford throws the ball an awful lot. Is he going to be the number two guy, the number three guy? I have no idea. He'll probably be the number three guy. But still, if they're throwing and airing out the ball that often, Grump, you have to feel like he's going to get a few targets. And I think, you know what? You're dealing with a more competent quarterback in Matthew Stafford than Baker Mayfield.
Okay. I mean, I don't even know where to start. Okay. He's not going to be happy being the number three wide receiver. Unless he's getting the ball, he's not happy. And here's the thing. The Rams are a really good, balanced team on both sides of the ball, right? Why would you want to possibly add that element to your locker room? I thought they made a nice pickup getting Von Miller. I don't know how much he actually has left in the tank, but it gives him more of a pass rush, right? I don't know why they didn't need Odell Beckham Jr. It just, to me, it made no sense. And he's the ultimate me guy.
Well, here's the thing, right? When we talk about it, Grump,
the Rams haven't had their guy yet. That's it.
Yeah, okay. I know. I don't need you interrupting me, Grump, as I'm making points. Come on, Grump. That being said, I mean, you look at it, right? He dealt with Baker Mayfield for 3 some odd years. So was it 2.5, 3 years of, again, that level? I mean, that low level. I mean, Baker, they don't play the offensive style he wants. Even if they haven't had the bye week, Matthew Stafford, even if when you include a bye week in there, he's still a guy who's throwing for top 5 passing yards this season. And you're throwing the ball and you're airing out the ball that often, that's probably going to be more conducive to his style. It's not like Odell Beckham Jr. is not open. I mean, he just wants the ball to be thrown to him a little bit more. Anytime it seems like conveniently, he just misses. I mean, it just seems like, Baker Mayfield just always conveniently missing the open man.
Yeah, he didn't get along with Baker Mayfield, didn't get along with Eli Manning. Doesn't seem to get along with quarterbacks, right? Doesn't get along with quarterbacks. You want to know why? unless they're feeding him the ball all the time, he's got a problem. Like I said, they just should have sent, here you go. Here's a little kicking net. Go play with that for a while. Just don't come near. Just don't come near our team. I think every other team was a winner. There were 31 winners in this. The only loser was the Rams.
I'm telling you, you're ridiculous. I think the Rams got to be they've got to be the favorite in the NFL, right? They've got to be the favorite to win a Super Bowl right now, right?
I think they were the favorite. They didn't even need him to be the favorite. I think
they brought in, right? You just mentioned it. They brought in Von Miller. And, even if Von Miller, you question how much does Von Miller have left in the tank when you're playing and you have Aaron Donald, bouncing off of you and helping, draw offensive linemen and helping draw a game plan towards him. It makes it, I feel like, a hell of a lot easier on Von Miller, Grumpy.
Well, that's okay. I mean, but the whole thing is, I said the Von Miller pickup was good. He actually brings something to the team. This guy just brings trouble. He just brings his baggage. I mean, is that what you want on a team that is truly a Super Bowl contender, without a doubt? If I'm the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that's the one team I don't want to play. I hope somebody else knocks them off because I think they're a bad matchup for Tampa Bay. I really do.
I'm just talking about them making it to the Super Bowl. I feel like they are the most complete team. I feel defensively, I mean, it would be hard. Who do you think is a better defensive team than right now the Rams?
Arizona Cardinals, who've already beaten them this year.
Okay.
Arizona's a really good defensive team. You asked me, I told you.
You think the Arizona Cardinals are a better defensive team than the Rams?
Without a doubt. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. How did that defensive team do against Tennessee at home last Sunday night? How'd that go?
They beat Tennessee, or they lose to Tennessee. What, that was the second loss of the season? Yeah, they lost to Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They got steamrolled by Tennessee without Derrick Henry.
They threw pick six. What did they happen, Grump? They threw pick sixes. I mean, it was a bad job on the offense. The offense didn't have a good afternoon or good evening, and that's what caused it, right? It's like saying, let's go ahead and look at a slight portion. The defense didn't play all that poorly. I mean, look at the yardage. What did Tannehill throw for like 200 yards passing? They had 100 yards on the ground, 300 yards of total offense. I'm not blaming the defense on that. I'm blaming the inept offense. The offense struggled. And guess what? They tried to address an offensive need by adding a better wideout, by adding another piece of depth there on a wide receiver core.
Yeah, I don't think they needed it. That's another mouth you have to feed. And that's a big one. He's got a big mouth, that guy. Always trouble. Trouble follows certain guys. It follows him. He's a troublemaker. Do you want a distraction? You played football. What's it like having a distraction in your locker room all the time?
I was about to say, so here's the thing, right? I think this is a make or break for him, in my opinion, regarding the trouble status. If he has issues in LA, that's just a him problem. Here's the thing. I think that if it was like, when he got traded originally to Cleveland, it wasn't immediate. They didn't have issues until like 3 years in. I mean, if it's more of an immediate issue and he has another one here in LA, sure, I'll label him as an issue. But right now, I'm just not doing it.
My issue is that he's not a winner. He's not a winner. He's a guy, I want to catch the ball. Everyone look at me. I'm a star. It's not about winning for him. He's never been able to accept his role. And let's be honest, he's been hurt a lot over the last number of years. Been injured numerous times. So you can throw those numbers up there. The fact is, he's just injury prone now. And that's what happens with guys that get older. I mean, I know he's not 30, but he's had the knee injury. He's had the quad injury. He's banged up in the lower body. It's not like he's going to magically rub some type of elixir on his legs and he's going to be fully healthy. It's just not going to happen.
Fair enough, Grump. That was a weird face you just made. Brian P. saying the Islanders are old, slow, and boring. The Giants are going to go on a run after the bye. No, Brian P. I'm afraid not. The Giants are another one of those teams, too. You look at it, they're a team, too, with no direction, no freaking direction under Daniel Jones. I'm sorry. They're going to be meandering about the road of mediocrity for, it seems like, for way, way, way too long. They have the pieces. Hey, we could finally get our running back healthy. Barkley's going to be back. We've got a wide receiver core healthy. We've got our Sterling Shepherds. We're going to have our, Kadarius Tonys. We're going to have our guys back there healthy on wide receiver core. Evan Ingram's healthy. The offense is going to be firing on all cylinders. Daniel Jones is the biggest issue back there for them. Another team that has pieces, but no quarterback.
You need a quarterback to win the NFL. He's not the answer. That said, I thought the Giants played a nice game against Oakland last week, or Las Vegas, the Raiders. I thought they played a nice game against them last week, and they held them out of the end zone a number of times. As a longtime Giants fan, I thought that was encouraging. That said, Daniel Jones is not the answer. He's not the answer. They could have gotten a quarterback this offseason, decided not to. Now you're living with this guy, and he's a free agent at the end of the year. How much are you going to commit to him? I don't know. Teams mismanage assets all the time. And the Giants thinking that that man can play the quarterback position, it was just classic mismanagement by Gettleman.
You're going to have a similar situation. Well, I would say Andy Dalton, before he re-signed originally with the Cincinnati Bengals, he at least had successful time periods with the Bengals. I mean, that being said, man, oh man, Jones is not the answer, just like Cam Newton's not the answer in Carolina, just like Sam Darnold's not the answer in Carolina, just like Jimmy Garoppolo was never the answer for the 49ers. Just like there's a plethora of quarterbacks that are the same. They're kind of just journeymen that are never going to be a guy who's a top, unless you're top 15 quarterback, you're not the answer. Jared Goff was never the answer in Los Angeles. He'll never be the answer in Detroit. There's just certain quarterbacks who just are not the answer. He's one of them.
Okay, I'm not saying Jared Goff is a good quarterback. Look at the boob who's the head coach of Detroit. Your pal, Tank McNamara. That's their coach.
You mean Campbell?
Yeah, Dan Campbell. That's right. Johnny Rah-Rah.
Okay.
You think they'll go 0-17 this year?
I think they'll squeak out a win. Maybe a win. Maybe on Thanksgiving Day.
Do you think he sees year two? Do you think he sees year two? Nope. I'll answer for you. Nope.
I don't know. It depends. Here's the thing. They embraced the hey, it was a full-on rebuild. So I'm not sure, Grump. I have to think that they're in it for the rebuild, right? They gotta be thinking, hey, this is full-on rebuild. If we feel like Campbell's the guy, I mean, think about it. They traded essentially everything away to say, hey, we want to accrue draft picks. Do you want to see what Dan Campbell can do with those draft picks? Or do you want to say, hey, you were just a stopgap guy and we want to go ahead and give those draft picks to somebody else? They knew their team is going to flat out suck this year. And all you've done here by being hideous is you've guaranteed yourself probably the number 1 overall pick, which is what ideally as a Lions fan and as a Lions organization, that's what you wanted. You've got plenty of draft picks and now you can hopefully secure the number 1 overall pick. Do I think Campbell's the answer there? Probably not.
Definitely not. Not probably not. Definitely not. When they hired him, that was the one. There were a couple of hires last offseason we talked about. And I'm like, Dan freaking Campbell? I mean, there was no one else available. I mean, to me, I was stunned at his selection for that job. I don't know what he did to get that job. And he comes out, yeah, we're going to run through the walls. Well, maybe you should learn how to run on football fields. I mean, maybe you'd be the best team in the league running through walls. But, that's not part of what the NFL is about. About running on the football field within the boundaries. I don't know. He's not a good coach. Sorry.
It doesn't look like he's the answer. And this is the thing, right? This is the last chance. I don't think he'll ever get another chance again. And he doesn't deserve one, right? But I just hate to prematurely say, okay, they just didn't have much to work with, the Lions. So
I look at him and I think strength and conditioning coach. When I look at him, that type of mentality is a strength and conditioning coach. Tell me I'm wrong.
He probably just doesn't have the knowledge or want to be a strength conditioning coach, but sure. I mean, like he's one of those high energy guys. He seems more like a position coach, like a really, really good position coach, or somebody, that is an energy guy, probably not a head coach, but he's admitted that he needed to change that style, and he had. I'm just not sure enough.
Maybe they could make him the hype man for the new head coach. Maybe they could do that.
Is that what you're thinking?
Why not? Flavor Flav was a hype man, and look at the career he had.
Flavor Flav was a hype man.
Yeah, he was a hype man for NWA.
Okay. This is before he just brought out the big clock. This must have been beforehand.
No, he would wear the clock, but he was the hype man.
I just know he always used to say Flavor Flav.
Flavor Flav. Yeah. But he was a hype man. That's how he started. He was a hype man. Maybe Dan Campbell can be an NFL hype man for, I don't know, whoever they get.
I'm afraid they're not really openly looking for for hype men. And now this, talking about the wide receivers that have played extremely well this season too, Grump. Now Cooper Kupp has put up ridiculous numbers. Let me ask you this: do you think Cooper Kupp continues on this pace? Hold on, it's hard to see it. Do you think Cooper Kupp continues on this pace? And again, they haven't had their bye week yet, but do you think he continues on this pace?
Do I think he has 2,000 yards receiving this year? Probably not. I mean, teams adjust over the course of a season. They see more what a team is doing. They run, they see what their scheme is. They see what Stafford is doing now, what his tendencies are going to be. So it's going to slow down a little bit towards the end of the year. The guy who has really impressed me, though, is Jamar Chase. I mean, if he didn't drop 4 touchdown passes last week, he'd have well over 1,000 yards.
I was about to say, I knew there had to be some sort of backhanded compliment on that one.
Yeah. And then you look at Tyreek Hill, who's had a miserable year this year. I mean, really underwhelming. And, it's funny to say that about somebody who halfway through the season looks like he's on pace for over 1,500 yards. And I say that because he's on my fantasy football team and he's been really disappointing for me this year.
You and that damn fantasy football, Grumpy. You and that damn fantasy football.
Got the money.
What was that?
It's all about the money. Need to win my money.
Oh, God. Fair enough, Grump. Now, let me ask you this. Now, did you happen to hear the story about Aminata Diallo, the lady, a female soccer player from PSG? Did you happen to hear about this story, Grumpy?
I have not.
Well, it's like Tanya Harding 2.0. It's mind-blowing. So this individual, this young soccer player, she's 26. She had started on
who's here? Which is the Tanya Harding?
I believe this is both the same individual.
Oh, okay, the same person. Okay.
Yeah, this is the same individual. So let me go back, Grumpy, so you could see who. I'll let you take a guess. So this was the issue. This individual here on the right-hand side was the individual who was she's going to be the individual that was that the attack was placed on. This individual here on the left, Grumpy, was the one who placed, I wouldn't call it a hit, but placed the attack on on the individual here on the right. Grump, that being said, so she hired 2 individuals to come with pipes. They put a bag over, and I can't pronounce this, Kiera's head, and then started to beat her legs with pipes.
So, so the blonde girl got galoolied, is what you're saying.
Yes, this is Tanya Harding, and this is Nancy Kerrigan, Grumpy, on the right.
Oh, and they're teammates.
They're teammates. What happened was the individual here on the left there, Diallo, was upset that she was seeing time, but she wasn't starting every game. So the thought process is that she wanted to be starting every game, and this player who's joined here on the right, Kiera, was taking her minutes. So she hired 2 individuals to put an item over her, put like a bag over her head, and beat her legs with pipes.
So this falls under the athletes are dumb category, I guess. So you don't think anyone's going to find out that you have hired hitmen to attack a teammate? Okay. So what happened with number 20? What happened with her?
She's been arrested, needless to say.
And what about blonde girl? What happened with her?
I don't know. They did this right before game time, where she hoped that she wouldn't be able to play in the game, but I'm not sure. I haven't really seen too much on it. I don't think it was anything like life-threatening happened or anything like that. But man, oh man, yeah, 2 masked men with iron bars.
I guess the bigger question is, if it happens in women's soccer, does anyone notice?
Yes. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Could you imagine if this was an NFL story? Like you've got Trey Lance is upset in San Francisco that Jimmy Garoppolo is starting over him, and he thinks he's the better quarterback. He's ready to come in and play because, Jimmy Garoppolo's a little older. So he hires 2 hitmen or 2 individuals to go ahead and beat him over the head with metal iron pipes or lead pipes, whatever the hell they're beating him over the head with, to take him out. That would be national news for, I want to say, 2 weeks.
Actually, if Trey Lance was that upset, all he would have to do would hope that Jimmy Garoppolo played 2 or 3 games and he'd get hurt on the football field and be playing anyway. Because he's injury prone. Get it?
I get it. I'm pulling up, Grumpy. I was funny, right? Like, you look at this and you look at the story that's around it, Grump. Now,
I just think it's like it's the friends and family league once again. Oh, this is when they were.
this is the picture. This is the picture of them both here together, smiling, or and it's funny, right on Instagram page. He said, "Oh man, so happy the French connection. We're in love." So they all have the same nationality. I think they're all French, and I'm just so shocked that she went ahead and hired two individuals to assault a teammate to try to take her. It's seriously like a Nancy Kerrigan, Tanya Harding, uh, except multiple years delayed here. I'm just shocked that someone would take that same approach. Did they not see how that failed years and years ago? And they thought, hey, I've got it foolproof now. I'm going to hire two individuals to put a bag over her head. As long as the guy's not my husband, they'll never tie it back to me.
Okay, you're talking about something that was what 25 years ago, 27 years ago. So perhaps they figure, well, everyone kind of forgot. And once again, it's women's soccer. Look at the amount of people in the stands. No one. There's no one. You see the picture right there. No one in the stands.
I think that was due to COVID.
No, it's because no one goes to see those games. It's the friends and family league. No one watches women's professional soccer. They just don't do it.
Here's Tanya. I didn't read this article beforehand, but here's Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan right here. Oh my God. I'm just shocked. Oh man.
Why?
Dude, here's the funny thing. Like, I love reading the little snippet too, where it says, the two male assailants were wearing ski masks, and they reportedly dragged her out of her vehicle at her house and started hitting her legs with iron bars for 2 minutes before escaping the scene. I'll be honest with you. If you're a male assailant and you're hammering a lady's leg with iron bars and you're not able to for 2 minutes, here's the thing. I don't think they're like barely like petting her legs or like shaving her legs with these iron bars. I'm sure they are chopping the hell out of these legs. I'm shocked she didn't break a tibia or break something in her leg. I'm shocked.
Well, I would like to see that video. Maybe they were former professional wrestlers. So actually, while they're hitting the legs, they're actually hitting the pavement more and really not hitting the actual leg. And it doesn't matter if it's a woman's leg or a man's leg. If you're hitting somebody with a metal pipe for 2 minutes, something should break.
I was about to say, like, I'm just saying, professional athletes, okay, you know what I mean? Bone density maybe is there. They're used to taking some sort of contact on the shins because she plays soccer. But 2 minutes, two individuals. It's not like there's two individuals. And I don't know. I seriously, I don't. Here's the thing. I haven't heard. Maybe she does have a broken leg, but just haven't revealed that. I just know that all the other soccer players have armed security guards at every single one of their houses because who knows what other types of hits that this Diallo lady may have put out on other teammates. It's shocking though. I'm sorry. I didn't think I'd ever see one of those incidents here again. But man, oh man. Ooh.
Again, for me, it falls in the category of who cares. Because it's women's soccer. It's not even, for me, it's not even a sport.
Oh, stop. You're ridiculous.
It's not. It's unwatchable. It's unwatchable.
Meatball Parm says Jimmy Hart is the ultimate hype man.
He was great. Wrestling managers are the best. Old Jimmy Hart. He's still doing it too.
Alexander is saying, hey guys, how are you? Here at the Finns game, 6-3. The Dolphins right now. Jacoby Brissett is horrible. You know the crazy thing about Jacoby Brissett is he's starting over Tua Tagovailoa tonight. It's not like Tua is not healthy and unable to play. I heard that they just benched him in favor of Jacoby Brissett, which is if you're a Dolphin fan, you've got to be nervous. You've got to be thinking to yourself, holy crap, we have screwed the pooch.
He's not the answer. Alexander, I hate to tell you, he's not the answer. He just isn't.
We had the segment of who's not the answer. Jacoby Brissett and Tua are both not the answers in Miami. So, and just all these teams that needed quarterbacks passed up over, it was a very, very strong draft for quarterbacks this year. And
there were so many teams
last year. I'm sorry.
There were so many teams that needed quarterbacks and traded out. That's the whole thing. They traded out of those spots where they could have picked anyone. And they decided to go for other positions. I mean, if you don't have a quarterback, you have no shot of winning in the NFL.
I'm sorry, I'm wrong. I thought originally it wasn't released until three hours ago. Tua is listed the backup because he was recovering from his fractured middle finger, so he's got a broken middle finger, unable to play. But I thought it was originally. I thought I saw the rumors online on Twitter that he was just sitting, but I guess he was just has a lingering issue with his finger. Man, oh man, you got to toughen up and get out there, my guy.
He's always hurt. Always hurt. I think he's got brittle bone disease.
Oh, Alexander Saints, Tua is better than this garbage. Yeah, I'm sure Tua is better than Jacoby Brissett. I mean, Jacoby Brissett isn't the answer. And then Alexander also saying, man, the Islanders. Oh,
bad game for the Islanders today. That's a game you had to win. Had to win today.
And Jesus, I talked about it earlier, but man, the puck luck was not in favor of the Islanders. And it seems like anything that could go wrong did go wrong.
When 13 isn't creating offense and at the tip top of his game, the Islanders will struggle scoring goals. They just
13. You mean Matt Barzal, Grump? Just because
that's right.
General Sports Podcast, not
right. I'm sorry. Yes, Matt Barzal. If he's not performing at optimal level, the offense just doesn't run. Just doesn't happen. He's the only guy on the whole team who's capable of creating offense. Only one.
They struggled. Want to talk now? Speaking about college sports, Grump, there's a lot of good news around college. College basketball started. What was it, on Wednesday or Tuesday? And on top of college basketball starting, you've got the college football playoffs that released a little bit of a new rankings, Grump. So we'll jump through some college football playoffs here first. Grump, it's a big weekend for college football. That is for certain. You got number 4. Ohio State against number 19 Purdue, number 8 Oklahoma against number 13 Baylor. You've got number 11 Texas A&M against number 15 Ole Miss, and number 12 Wake Forest against number 16 NC State.
Yeah, and that, like I said, I know my son is upset because Oklahoma's not top 4. And I said, as long as Oklahoma wins out, I'm not saying they will, but if they do, they'll be top 4. Because all these other teams are going to lose, right? I said Michigan and Michigan State was number 3. Well, Michigan State loses last week. I don't know how they don't drop lower than 7 from 3, honestly, after losing, getting rolled by Purdue. Purdue was not ranked that high last week. Let's see what happens this week. If Purdue beats Ohio State, well, how far does Ohio State fall? You can't, at this stage of the season, you cannot be losing games. You just can't be doing it. The only team that can afford to lose a game the rest of the way, really, is Georgia. The only one. Everybody else who loses the game is going to drop out of the top 4.
I think there's one team that can avoid that. I think if Alabama loses to Georgia at the tail end of the season, I still think they make college football.
No way. A 2-loss team is not going to make the Final 4 when you have other teams that are undefeated below it. That will not happen. Will not happen.
Here's the thing. I mentioned it before. I'll mention it again. Oklahoma has at least 4 games. They're going to be playing the remainder of the season against top 25 opponents. The likelihood they beat all 4 of those teams, I think, is low. The likelihood maybe they beat 3 of the 4 teams, sure, I can believe in that. I just think all 4 is really tough. Wake Forest is no longer undefeated. You've got Cincinnati, who's undefeated. I'm sorry. I would rather take a 2-loss Alabama team over a no-loss Cincinnati team.
I would take a 5-loss Alabama team over Cincinnati. Cincinnati sucks. I'm sorry. They're not a good team. They are not good. They play the St. Mary's of the Sisters of the Poor and the other affiliated Santa Clara, schools like that. They are just bad. You can't play in a lower level conference and expect to compete in for the NCAA championship. Can't happen. I mean, can you imagine? Let's say they come in number 4 and they play Georgia. What do you figure they get beat? 55-3?
Oh,
I guarantee they wouldn't score against Georgia. Georgia's defense is really, really good. I don't think their offense.
I understand their defense is really, really good. I just think they would score a garbage touchdown.
Okay. What I'm saying is Georgia's offense isn't that great either. I just don't think Cincinnati's that good. I'm sorry. They beat an okay Notre Dame team. Just okay. That's it. I mean, everybody else is like, who cares?
Yeah, And again, Notre Dame, not all that great. There's a lot of big games this weekend in college football. I think you're going to see Wake Forest return to what they are. Wake Forest is not very good. You're going to see that on center stage. Wake Forest will lose to NC State. Old Miss. I think I've got Texas A&M against Old Miss, grumpy old man, and Oklahoma against Baylor. Baylor had that bad loss this last week. Maybe they bounce back. Who the hell knows? But I'll tell you, it has a chance for some really, really hopefully close and competitive games.
That's what you want at the end of the year, isn't it? You want to have teams that are ranked in the top 25 playing one another. It couldn't be better. It couldn't be actually any better for ABC and ESPN and everybody who shows these games. You want teams that are in the top 25 playing, effectively eliminating one another from the bowl championship series. The thing that I find that I heard news this week was the NCAA couldn't find a way, or they're really struggling to find a way of how to implement adding more teams to the championship. How tough is that really? Why don't you just say, okay, instead of 4, we're going to put in 8? I mean, how difficult is that? And this is for the 2024 season. You're trying to tell me you can't get that figured out?
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked by it. And here's the thing: I think that the top teams should get some sort of benefit. They should get some sort of bye. I'm not sure. The teams that have busted their ass all season long to possibly lose, there could be no arguments about who wins the national championship. I can promise you that much, because it would be, I mean, you talk about it would be a grind. It would be much tougher to win a national championship in football if you then have to beat, right? If there's 8 teams, you've got to win 3 games in order to win a national championship against top 10 opponents.
Yeah. For me, I want an 8-team playoff. I think that's fine. I don't think any more than that's too much. Oh, because remember, it's all about the safety of the students. You have to take that into account, because that's what really matters, according to the NCAA. It's about the safety of the students. But you know what you're going to see happen? What you saw last year, right? Players who are going to go, you know what? I'm going to start preparing for the NFL draft early. So I'm going to sit out bowl games, which they've started doing last year.
Well, they've done it before last year, Grum. They started doing it, predated even back to when Christian McCaffrey was still a running back at Stanford. He sat out the bowl game for Stanford that year too.
Yeah, but it's prevalent now. It's really prevalent now. You're seeing a lot of guys do it.
Well, you see it sometimes even before the bowl game. You'll see it with a few games left in the regular season, like, okay, our team really sucks. I think I've done everything I can to show what I've got on the field. You'll see people even stop before. And again, like, you'll see, hey, I need to focus up for the draft. That stuff always blows my mind. I mean, do what you want. You have a good chunk of time to prepare for the draft. I mean, think about it. Your season ends, and even if you make a bowl game, you're playing until December. I mean, you're playing till December. I mean, max like early December, or like mid-December, early mid-December, most cases.
Late December. They pushed most of those bowl games off now, where it's the last week in December and even into January. And now you're having the championship going. Here's the thing. When I was a kid, the first New Year's Day was the end of the college football season. That's when you had all the big bowl games. Sugar Bowl, Cotton Bowl, Rose Bowl, Orange Bowl. Those were the ones. And now you're seeing it pushed further and further. Now it's a week behind. It's like January 8th. So, I mean, I think that's what they're trying to figure out, is how can we split up the extra money we make and not push the season too far? Because, these student athletes have to get back to school, because that's really important.
Okay, but you're saying, here it is, right? I want to get back to my point before you drag it too far the other way, right? You end the season, and let's say you play the bowl game, you end in December. They just want to make sure they don't get hurt, is all it is, right? Because I have to add an extra month worth of practice. I mean, I could tear an ACL over that time period. Who the heck knows? In non-contact. I could get injured in the bowl game, but you're adding that towards December. Unless you're going to the Senior Bowl, additionally, you have from December until really, I mean, like, when you do the combine, it's in March. I mean, you've got 3 months. What is it, in March, right, Grump? You've got 3 months thereabout, because the draft is in April 20th. You have the combine about a month before the draft. And again, you'll have like private workouts with teams. You'll have the combine, but you've got a good solid 2-3 months to recover and really put work in for it. So
I just think it's becoming more prevalent now. Guys see the money. They don't want to risk the injury. That's all they care about. I
Yeah,
don't blame them.
I don't disagree. I'm just saying that's how it is. Here's the other thing too, right? I've heard it placed to me this way, and I think it makes good sense like this. I don't mind players sitting out. I think some players should play. I mean, if you're a quarterback, man, suit up, go out there and play. I get it if you're a running back not playing, you want to save some tread on the tires, but most positions I think should play. Your offense, your defensive lineman, they shouldn't sit out. Come on, toughen up, man. That being said, if college coaches can go ahead and leave their team for a new job before their bowl game, why couldn't players go ahead and abandon their team too, right? They look at the players and they say, "Oh, this player does this," and I feel like the players catch a lot of slack or catch a lot of backlash. But the coaches who leave before their bowl game don't really catch a lot of negative feedback.
Yeah, but those are usually coaches that aren't playing in the championship game, in the championship series.
You could say the same thing about the players.
Yeah, I'm not saying the players shouldn't do it.
I'm just saying the players I feel like catch a lot of negative feedback. I don't really mind if players do it. I think they should play, but coaches never really catch the negative feedback for abandoning a team. And let's say, hey, I've had a great season. I've had a 9 or 10 win season at Temple, and I've earned myself a job at the University of Florida. I've got a new coaching gig at the University of Florida. I'm going to go ahead and leave before the bowl game because I got to start getting everything prepared. I want to start getting my recruiting class in order. And, coaches just don't ever catch any type of negative feedback for that. And players do. I do find that a little odd, though.
Yeah. I guess it doesn't bother me that coaches do that either. It just doesn't. It's just, but you don't see coaches doing that a whole lot. You just don't see it. They usually finish out the bowl game and then they're gone. They usually don't jump ship before it, every once in a while. But the thing with the players is much more prevalent than it used to be. Now it's noticeable.
Yeah, it is. What a film saying, look at the bright side, Islanders fans. We got to hear the Josh Bailey song tonight. It'll be good to be home. That's for certain.
And I'll tell you what, Islander fans traveled to Jersey today.
I think you heard a lot of "Let's Go Islanders" chants for certain. And what a film's also saying, the Michigan-Ohio State is a great rivalry. Have they played yet? No, they play that last game of the season. That is going to be a huge game. I mean, you're looking at both teams could possibly be top 10 teams. Whoever wins might directly impact who makes it to the college football playoffs. I mean, there's no stakes bigger than this year, I think, for Michigan-Ohio State.
I won't forget. I can't remember the year, maybe 19. I don't even want to say it was in the 90s, where Ohio State, Michigan were the two best teams in the country, and they played off in the big rivalry game. And I think Michigan won. Maybe it was Ohio State. I can't even remember, but it was so close. It was like a 2-point game, and they were the two best teams. And that should have been that year. If there was a playoff, those two teams would have met in the finals. They were just that much superior to every other team. Well, whatever.
I'm just saying, in recent history, I mean, since Harbaugh's been there at Michigan, I think this could potentially has the writing to be the biggest Michigan versus Ohio State game. And I always pose this question. I wonder if let's say he started off extremely strong. Let's say he shits the bed down the road and he just completely, throws up on himself, can't seal the deal, and let's say they lose to a Penn State and they lose to an Ohio State. Do you think Harbaugh is going to be without a job? Do you think he's going to be forced to leave Michigan?
No, I think they love him there. He's an old Michigan grad. He's turned that franchise. He's turned that university. They are franchises, though. Let's be honest, right? He turned that football program around. I just don't think he's ever beaten Ohio State yet.
No, that's what I'm saying. He's been there 7 years and hasn't beaten Ohio State once. And how long has he been there? 7 some odd years?
I don't think he's been there that long.
6, because he was the coach when he was a coach in San Francisco when they went to the Super Bowl against the Ravens. What was that, in 2012, 2013? And he didn't last much longer after that.
No, it was later. I don't know. But he's been there for a while. But it was a dumpster fire when he got there. And he has turned that program around, without a doubt. That said, you have to beat your big rival. You can't. And his thing, they've not just lost them, they've been killed by them. He has to do better this year. I think if he loses to Penn State but beats Ohio State, he's totally safe. If they lose to Penn State and get absolutely rolled by Ohio State, then maybe we can have a discussion.
This is Jim's 7th year as the coach.
Okay.
I mean, here's the thing. He's had an awful lot of time to get things sorted. 7 years is 2 full recruiting classes for a guy like, Harbaugh, who had extreme success in the NFL. This is a guy that really should. I mean, he instantly, right, brought their team where, hey, we've had 10-win season. Last year, they were 2-4 in Michigan. So it wasn't a good year last year. And this year, right, they're on the cusp. Here's the thing. You get into one of those situations to where if you've got a coach and you're ready to take that next step, you sometimes, you gamble for it all, because would you rather have secured 10-win seasons, where you're playing in, a big bowl game, you're playing the Peach Bowl, the Citrus Bowl, the Orange Bowl, or, do you want to go for it all? Do you want to take a big risk where you can either be a team that's compete for national championship, or maybe you're pulling off 6 or 7 wins a season?
Coaches in college football have a much longer rope. They just do. And he's been successful with them. People forget how bad it was during the Hoke era, Brady Hoke era. It was really down times for Michigan. He turned it around. Yes, he hasn't beaten Ohio State yet. Last year, COVID year, as far as I'm concerned, that's just a write-off season all the way around. Let's see what happens this year. I'm excited to see that game, honestly.
Yeah. It's good. I tell you, I've got friends who have tickets to the game, and they bought them early on in the season. And I thought to myself, I'm like, man, I don't. If you could scout those tickets, I'm sure. I don't know how much you originally paid for them, but I promise you could sell them for a lot more than what the value of the ticket's worth if both teams continue to win. And that last game has complete implications on who makes the college football playoffs. That's for certain,
without a doubt.
And then, Grumpy, they're talking about the Josh Bailey song. People are saying it's awful. Some people like it, and they're doing the yes, yes, yes chants. Grumpy, I know you've never liked the yes, yes, yes chants.
I hate the yes. I don't think anyone was doing the yes, yes, yes chants today. Maybe the Devils fans, after they shut the Islanders out, maybe they were doing the yes, yes, yes chants. I can't imagine any Islander doing it today. There was nothing to yes, yes, yes over, except for a couple of Sorokin saves.
Meatball Parm says, pronounce these Long Island cities: Wantagh, Massapequa, Patchogue, Islip, and then Ronkonkoma, and then I have no idea how to pronounce that last one.
Okay, the only reason you even know those names is because they've been brought up before, and I pronounced them. Wantagh, which is where my mother and father were from. Massapequa, which is right next door to it. Patchogue is right past where I used to live, which was Oakdale. Islip Township, and then Ronkonkoma, which was up north, and then Hauppauge, which is also north and east. All that was my stomping grounds.
I just want to tell you something. Look at you trying to take freaking credit because you've pronounced them once. And now I know how to pronounce the words. Grump, you know what? Give me some damn credit every once in a while, huh? Grump, you think I remember these words? I've never lived on Long Island, Grump. Come on now.
I know all those. I know all those towns intimately.
What a film said, quarterbacks will be playing flag football before you know it. Not a bad idea. You can barely touch them now anyway.
100% true. 100% true.
What a film's also saying, yeah, the Michigan Wolverines have a huge following in Ontario, Canada. They have huge success in basketball in the late 80s. Made a ton of money on that team. They're pretty, I'm about to say, both of those sports are they're pretty big. They're pretty successful in both basketball and football.
Michigan, the Wolverines had, in the late 80s and then into the 90s with the Fab Five. They couldn't get the job done as the Fab Five. But yeah, they were really good in basketball. Now they're back to be pretty good again. So everything goes in cycles.
Yeah, they're top 10 for certain in cycles. Always, I feel like college basketball is 100% indicative on who the coach is. I feel like that has a huge, huge, huge determining factor on whether your team's going to be good or not.
The ability to recruit is the most important thing in college basketball.
Yes.
And that said, Michigan that's a football state, and that's a football school.
I just always loved watching the Michigan against Ohio State rivalry, and they would say, who the hell was it? I think he was the coach for Ohio State, and they said, hey, why did you go for 2 points? They were up like 40 some odd points or something like that because they wouldn't let me go for 3. And this guy was also on record for saying, if my car, I think he said, my car ran out of gas 1 mile short of the, Michigan, Ohio border, and I walked a mile into Ohio to get gas and put it in my tank because I wouldn't buy anything in Michigan. Something like, who the hell was that coach?
Woody Hayes.
Woody Hayes.
The great Woody Hayes.
Mm.
Yeah. And that was from that HBO series, The Rivalry, Ohio State versus Michigan. Really a fun watch. Really fun watch. Just shows how much they hate one another.
I feel like it's been watered down a little bit.
No, not if you live up in that area.
I'm just saying, okay, fair enough. John P. said, no Vesna brownie points tonight for the difference, as he wasn't, but 0 scoring help is a major factor for sure.
I didn't see the last goal. The first goal, he made 2 great saves on a shorthanded chance, and then it was a wide open net. The second one was a puck that was off net, got deflected in off of, I forget the devil player. Then the third goal was another kind of a fluky one, and I didn't see the fourth one.
No, I thought it was only 3. Was there 4?
Yeah.
We lost 4-0.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Gotcha. What a film said. Great job on the pronunciation, TJ. Surprised me. Well, I appreciate it.
He didn't know. He did not know. He did not know.
He pronounced all of them.
He did not know. You know how you can tell when TJ's lying? He's smiling. That's how you know he's lying.
I pronounce all the words, and I did so 100% the way I just read them. What do you think I did? Do you think I went ahead and texted you? I messaged you in the chat, in the private chat. I said, hey, Grumpy, as we're doing this podcast, I want you to mute yourself and go ahead and pronounce all these different places on the Long Island, and I want you to go ahead and pronounce those so I can go ahead and listen to those. I muted myself and muted my version so I can listen to you pronounce them over and over again. That's what I did, so I could pronounce the words right. Is that what you're trying to?
You're the same guy. You're the same guy who didn't know the pronunciation of the word desire yesterday. Desire. You called it Desiree.
I'm gonna murder you. Oh man, Mike M made sure to post that on Twitter. Oh my god, it was Jesus. It's embarrassing. Alexander said, "Meatball Parm. What about Uniondale? Where I'm from, Uniondale." Mm-hmm. And then John P said, "My stomping grounds. Born in Huntington. Lived in Huntington Station for 4 years. Then the hamlet of Ford. Oh man,
Fort Salonga
for 28 years. And the famous bread and cheese Hollow Road, Long Island, born and raised."
It was, I tell you what, and John's a little bit older, so he remembers what it was like to live on Long Island. I don't know what it's like on Long Island now, okay? But I remember back in the day, it was a great place to live. Long Island was a great place to live. It really was. I lived out in Suffolk County, and it was fantastic. I always wished they would have put a hockey team out in Suffolk County. I know they were talking about it years and years ago, maybe having the Islanders move out there, and I was all for that. I would have got season tickets to that. But didn't come to fruition.
Absolutely not. What a film saying, yep, the Fab Five were huge. I had a pair of purple and yellow Nike basketball shoes. Not that I could play, but hey, they look cool.
Do you know, TJ, that the Fab Five introduced the baggy shorts that everybody wears now?
I did not.
No one wore baggy shorts before then, 1992. No one wore them. It was all the little tidy high and tight.
Good gracious, Grump. I'm sure you were wearing a lot of those high and tight shorts, weren't you?
I wear them now.
Oh, good gracious. About to say, they probably come back in style, don't they now? Everything comes back in style. John P. said, yep, Bo and Woody, great coaches.
Bo Schembechler. I know if we put his name up, you'd be able to pronounce that one too, right, Desiree?
Probably not. Look at your ass, Grump. Don't you worry, Grumpy. Don't you worry.
Right. You just can't pronounce anything.
Memory like an elephant. Don't you worry, Grump. I got the memory like an elephant.
Anything more than 2 syllables and you're lost. Ronkonkoma? No way.
I've heard it, Grump. I've heard the word.
That's right. I've talked about it.
Bullshit. Stop. Meatball Parm said, Grump, Jones or Toby?
Jones.
Fair enough. I was about to say, I'm glad they didn't ask that because I have no idea what this question even means. I'm not sure what Jones or Toby we're talking about. What a film says Sorokin played well. The puck was not bouncing the Islanders' way. He gets across the crease better than anyone. It's kind of magical.
He made a stop on a breakaway on Tatar today that was truly special. Only a handful of goalies make that save. That was a fantastic move by Tatar. I'm sure we'll have that on Saturday's podcast. Just show how great he was on that. Just fantastic.
He's a fantastic goalie. He's the number one, no doubt about it. Eddie said, "Oh my God, boys, Lou has a tall order to make this team a cup contender. Defense is abysmal. Still, nobody puts the puck in the net when they get a chance. Where do you begin? Is 15 or whatever even enough?" Oh man.
I can't get into this today. I cannot get into detail on this today, but these are long-seated problems that we've had opportunities. The Islanders have had opportunities to solve, and they decided just keep the band together year after year after year. You reap what you sow. Now they're starting to see it. Lou sees it now. He knows. They all know. If Matt Barzal is not creating, this team has no chance of winning.
John P. saying, they did, grumpy old man. The Long Island Ducks and the Long Island Cougars played at Comac Arena.
It's Comac. See what I mean? It's not Comac. It's Comac.
Jesus Christ.
That's what I mean. There is no way.
Close enough, Grump.
No. See, that's what I mean. You knew the other one because I've talked to you about them before. That's the only reason you knew them. And the way you rattled them off like that, you
can't try to mispronounce every freaking place people put in New York. Any place on Long Island, I'm going to mispronounce just to piss you off, Grumpy.
You can't even read that fast, first of all. And there's no way you read that. And you butchered Comac.
Okay? Oh, my God.
I'm just saying. I was talking about professional. I was talking about like NHL team like the Islanders. I remember going to see the Long Island Ducks with Boy Scout troops. And of course, whenever you go with a Boy Scout troop, you're like in the upper deck. And, as you're like 8 years old, going to the upper deck is like, it's like 4 miles up, and they used to make sure you bring hockey tickets. I didn't know what hockey tickets were. I found out that that's toilet paper.
Hockey tickets? What do you mean?
That's what they called it. Make sure you bring hockey tickets. That's toilet paper for when you go to the bathroom, if you have to go to the bathroom at one of those filthy old arenas.
They told you that was a term for toilet paper is hockey tickets, you guys said in Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Eddie said, love you guys. We appreciate it, Eddie. John P. said, Robert Moses and Crab Meadow Beaches, TJ.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I like Robert Moses because you can watch the concerts out there. And Sonny was killed right on the causeway.
Meatball Parm said, best concert you've seen at Jones Beach Theater.
Ooh. I don't know about the best. I remember the last. Okay, now I've been gone a long time. But the last one I think I saw was the Moody Blues and the Fix were playing. And I'm going way back.
In the Wayback Machine.
Moody Blues are pretty good.
Eddie saying, I was born. Oh, how do I pronounce that, Grumpy?
Oh, he's born and raised in Comac.
Comac. Yeah, I'm aware of the place. Eddie said, geez, TJ, maybe you should just stay away from proper nouns altogether.
Oh.
You know what, Grump? We're just going to let you start reading the comments here.
I know how to pronounce names.
You go, Grumpy. You got that. John P's comment.
Okay. I tell you how much I love Long Island, guys. It is in my will. Either I am buried with my parents in Huntington or at Calverton with my veteran brothers and sisters. My father-in-law is buried out of Calverton.
By the way, happy Veterans Day. We forgot to mention that right off the top, but happy Veterans Day for all who served, for certain. And then what a film saying the Devils had more goals than the Ravens have points late in the third quarter. How do they have 6? I think it's 6-3 the score.
No. He said, how are they 6-2? That's their record. Is
6-2. Gotcha.
Because they're a streaky team. And these Thursday night games are notorious for guys not producing, honestly.
Well, here's the thing. It's because it's on a short week to prepare. You want to know what I just remembered? I just remembered that I think I have people playing in fantasy football tonight. And I didn't pay I didn't pay attention. I forgot it was Thursday football day.
I had Lamar Jackson going tonight. Sounds like he didn't do much of anything so far.
No, it sounds like you may be in a little bit of trouble there in your fantasy football league, Grumpy.
I bet I win.
That
My
being
team is freaking loaded because I'm GM. Loaded.
Gotcha. Tell me more about your fantasy football team because I care that much, Grump. College basketball, though, is back. Let me ask you this.
Why are there girls in this picture?
Because it's men and women's. I don't know why they
Women's college basketball sucks. Women's basketball period sucks.
It's definitely not as fun to watch as men's basketball.
Friends and family league. Stop trying to push that garbage. No one watches it.
Let me ask you this. Out of who played, there were a lot of games on Tuesday, Grump. Now, what team? I mean, you look at Kansas played your Michigan States. I think Duke played Kentucky. There are a lot of competitive games out there. Now, what team? I don't know how many college basketball games you watch here for the opening day of college basketball, but did any team really stand out to you?
I just watched the Duke game. I like Duke. Coach K's. Here's the thing. Do you know how to pronounce Coach K's last name?
Mike Krzyzewski.
There you go. It's not like if I threw it up there, you wouldn't know what it was. I know you'd butcher that name too. It's only because you've heard the name for a long time.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Coach K, it's his last year.
You bastard.
So, and he's certainly looking old now, I will say. It's time for him to step down. So I hope they have a very successful year. But college basketball is nothing even close to what it used to be in the 80s. And that's what happens when you got a bunch of guys who are one and dones. You don't get that continuity of guys playing at least 3 years together. So it is what it is. But there's nothing like the environment of college sports, college athletics. On the men's side, women's side, well, what's the difference?
Well, here's the thing. That's why I like college basketball more than I like professional basketball. Right? Professional basketball is like, hey, just kind of tune in. I'm there. But like for college basketball, they got the student section and you got the Cameron Crazies. You've got, all these student sections are going insane. Hey, they got the Oakland Zoo. It's all over the place. You see the crazy atmosphere. It's the reason why I also love soccer. You see the crazy atmospheres. That's why I like college basketball better than NBA. That being said, very, very close game between Duke and Kentucky. And you're right. Coach K is looking old as hell. You got to feel like John Shire. He's coming in. He's going to be the head coach after K, correct?
Yep. And he's already doing a good job recruiting. He learned from the master. And remember, Coach K is in his 70s now.
Coach K was not a good recruiter.
What?
Coach K was not a good recruiter.
What, are you crazy? He's been to 12 Final Fours. What do you think?
No. How? Okay. Coach K, we're going to have to flip through the freaking analog here. We're going to flick back through the records. Coach K usually employed the strategy of juniors and seniors help his team be successful. It wasn't until Capel came back after his failed stint in Oklahoma and the issues he had in Oklahoma that they started to recruit more for the one-and-done type player. After Capel left, you saw the recruiting classes for the one-and-done kind of taper off a little bit. Now you're seeing Shire kind of take over with the new blood. They were not a team that really employed the one and dones. They used to only be Kentucky that employed the one and dones. And then when Capel joined Duke, they started to adopt the practice as well.
It had nothing to do with Capel. It was all to do with Kentucky. Kentucky was getting the primetime guys because they were doing the one and done thing. That's why Duke started going that way, because they were losing all the high-end prospects to Kentucky every year. That's why they did it. It had nothing to do with Jeff Capel. Jeff Capel was a good recruiter when he was at Duke. He wasn't good at Pitt because guess what? You can't sell Pittsburgh on anything. What are you going to sell?
Not true.
You got steel mills.
You've got,
what are you going to sell there?
You've got no idea what you're talking about on that one. That being said, he's a miserable coach. They employed the one and done strategy, maybe to combat a little bit Kentucky, but it wasn't until Capel came there, right? Kentucky was always there. How long was Calipari there? You think it just took him 7 years before Capel before that Coach K said, hey, we're going to more practice for the one and dones? How long has Calipari been in Kentucky for? What?
I have no idea.
15 years?
No idea. I'm just telling you.
Jeez, I would love you to look that up.
Coach K is the guy who sets the recruiting strategy, not freaking Jeff Capel. Okay? Jeff Capel didn't come back and say, this is who we're going to recruit. Coach K ran the whole organization there. They changed because of what was going on in Kentucky. I think now in the last couple of years, they've kind of gone back the other way because everyone was leaving after a year and you couldn't, after they lost with Zion and RJ Barrett, maybe we'll take a little step back. And I
13
don't think the last couple of recruiting classes have been great.
13 years. The reason it hasn't been good is because Capel left. Capel was the recruiter there for them, right? They did it 13 years. So you're saying there they didn't start employing the one and done till what? You saw what I mean, who was the first big guy they had there for the one and done? Overweight center, didn't Marvin Bagley. I feel like he was the first big
Overweight.
guy. Marvin Bagley's not in great shape, is he?
Jaleel Okafor.
Jaleel Okafor, that's what I'm thinking. I guess what? I don't watch Duke basketball enough, and they're all one and done through the system. I'm just saying they didn't start employing the one and dones until Capel was there.
You're mistaken. And Jeff Capel had nothing to do with it. Coach K sets the strategy. He carried it out. It's not like Jeff Capel coming, oh, this is what we're going to do here. That's not the way it works. What's wrong with you?
Here's the thing. Some people
your mind's going soft with all that comedy.
Here's the thing. Your brain's not working so well, Grumpy, with your old advanced age. I'm saying when it was just when it was just Krzyzewski recruiting, he didn't have the ability, didn't have the pizzazz, didn't have the pop to bring in the guys that were top tier class. You bring a little bit of a smooth talker like Capel, it helps out because Krzyzewski definitely had the record, he had the program, he's got the blue blood, he had the success with the team, just didn't have the ability to smooth talk recruits. You bring in a smooth talker, you're starting able to really Grump, do we really have to go back? Right. John Calipari joined in 2008. If your assumption is correct, and John Calipari was the reason why Duke started to do that, that would mean what? After maybe 2 years of Calipari being there, so as early as 2011, they would be recruiting more than one and done type players, right? Or you think they waited? So you think in 2011 they started to recruit one and done type players?
Jabari Parker, what year did he come in? He was a one and done. That's when they started doing it. It was a direct result of after what Kentucky was doing, because they were losing all those guys to Kentucky. That's what started the whole thing of the one and dones was Kentucky, and Duke followed suit.
Let's just take a look here, Grump. Out of this 2011, none of those players are one and done. Not a one of these players.
Austin Matthews was a one and done.
Okay, Austin Matthews is not on this freaking list.
Austin Rivers. I'm sorry, Austin Rivers. 2011.
I thought he played 2 years.
No,
Austin Rivers played 2 years in college. 2 years in college, Grump.
1 year.
Oh, man. You should know your team better than that.
I don't know. I'm looking at an ad for Best Buy.
Okay. Out of these two players, I'll tell you one thing. None of those players were one and done.
Suleiman was only there 1 year before he transferred to Maryland.
Okay. But he wasn't a one and done. And here's the thing, right? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Grump. They didn't really start landing the big recruiting classes until Capel joined.
Okay, what's 2013? Go to 2013.
Jabari Parker, 2013.
There you go. Matt Jones was there a long time. Semi Ojeleye was there for a few years and transferred as well, I believe. But that's the start right there. Jabari Parker was the start. Calipari didn't start it his first year there.
2009 was the first year. Okay, so he started back with Duke in 2011, Grumpy. So hey, it coincides perfectly with my narrative, Grump, and I'm sticking with it, man.
Oh, you're delusional. You don't know anything. You know nothing.
I'm sticking
less than nothing.
John P saying St. John's predictions for this year. Or hold on, Eddie's saying first there. Calverton is the best shooting range on the whole island.
Okay, I'll take his word for it.
John P though saying St. John's predictions this season, Grump.
I don't know anything. I don't know anything about St. John's basketball.
Just based off a quick stat look, they did beat Mississippi Valley State 119-61. I have no idea how they're going to do. I don't watch enough of the AAC conference.
I don't even know. I don't even know anymore. I remember when Louis Carnesecca was the coach there, and he would wear the sweaters. That was when John Thompson was at Georgetown, Boeheim. There you go. Boeheim was at Syracuse. Raleigh Massimino was at Villanova. Man, there was some battles back then.
I tell you, man. That you know the item I really miss for college basketball, the old rough and tumble Big East. The old rough Big East. That's what I miss, Grumpy.
That was the rough and tumble. That's when the Big East was king back then.
When your Georgetowns, your Georgetowns. Yeah, I'll tell you. You don't see basketball played the same way, and it's crazy to think how the mighty have fallen. I mean, the Big East used to be the coup d'etat, no doubt about it.
When you saw the one and dones being prevalent, that's when you saw the the drop in the play of college basketball because guys stick around for a year, they're gone. Usually, a guy would play a year, he'd learn the system, teach them the fundamentals, how to learn the team system, and then he'd play maybe a little bit in the second year, and then the last 2 years they play. But now it's like you come in, you got to play right away. They don't learn the fundamentals, and you get what you get.
What a Film said, I never visited the island when I was in New York. I wish I had. Brooklyn has produced some of the greatest musicians in the world. Seeing a Billy Joel concert on the island would be legendary.
I think he still plays once a month at Madison Square Garden. And I've seen him all over the country. Billy Joel. Good show.
Billy Joel. What a Film saying, any sport. I'm just a little concerned. I watched the ladies, a win-win situation. Being a Canadian, I watch women's curling. They've got some pretty ladies throwing rocks.
I enjoyed curling. And, it's usually because it's on in the Olympics a lot during the day and there's nothing else to watch. But it's like, for guys just throwing rocks, I enjoy it. And they usually are pretty ladies too.
Yeah, I mean, even look at the guys too. It's not like you have to be like maximum or top physical fitness in order to be a curling star.
But let's be honest,
right? You just practice.
Yeah, let's be honest. Curling is another friends and family league sport. It just is. I enjoy watching it, but it's friends and family league. Mm. And there's really no difference between the men and the women for the most part in curling. There just isn't.
And he's saying, yep, they're always yelling, hurry, hurry, hard, hard. They've come up with some different terms.
They hit the ice with the broom. Why? You know why they do that, TJ?
It's in order to go ahead and build the path so they can kind of move. They can move the stone. I believe they call it the stone, right? They can move
the stone. They generate the friction, which turns the ice into like water, right? That's what you skate on is the water. It's not the ice. So they do that, and that gets it to curl whatever way they want it. Mm-hmm. I gotta say, it's interesting.
What a Film saying, yeah, Duke is the face of college basketball. Christian Laettner was a god.
He was fantastic in the early 90s. Spectacular.
John P. saying, it's still the Big East. Okay, so St. John's is still in the Big East.
Okay.
Fair enough. Well, Grump, I know we didn't have too much to cover, but we're saving up some fan fight segment for this Sunday's podcast. Let me ask you, Grump, before we wrap things up today, what do you have to say there?
Well, I just want to say one other thing. Our pal Aaron Rodgers, after he said he wasn't going to talk about it anymore, he came out and said, well, this is absolutely the last time I'm going to talk about his vaccination thing. And he said he apologized if people feel they were misled by his comments. So I guess that is as close as you're going to get to an apology from Aaron Rodgers.
It's one of those bullshit ones like, oh, I'm sorry that you thought that I said this. I tell you, man, it's something else with him. I tell you, something else with Aaron Rodgers. But Grump, usually you say one thing before we wrap the show up every single time.
Yeah, I just want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens, and even those who don't, from TJ and the grumpy old man, and we certainly appreciate everyone who does.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. Again, if you're a first-time listener, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. This is a twice-a-week sports podcast where we just have fun, shooting the shit, and talking sports. We go live every single Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and every single Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in, and thank you again, Grumpy Old Man.